week I had a stand-in with Dean Robinson. I was recovering from a cold I caught while in Chicago. Not swine flu, everybody's making fun of me. It was not swine flu. Okay, so it's really good to see all of you. You guys have a good time and have your opportunity to work down in the lab and work on your portfolio?
Yeah.
Great. I can see that between last week and this week, there's been some activity. I'm downloading my whole tip sheet thing. So I was concerned when I saw 5 for like 3 weeks, and all of a sudden it's at 13. So I feel a little better. So this is good news. You guys ready to have some fun tonight?
Yes.
It's going to be fun for you guys because I'm in the hot seat tonight. What we're going to do is we're going to have a mock interview here in front of you. Okay? I am going to be interviewed. I'm going to be interviewed. I'm going to be the one in the hot seat. Okay? And we have a special guest with us this evening. And good evening, Mr. Jackson. We will need to have a discussion, Mr. Jackson. We have a special guest with us this evening, okay? And she's going to be interviewing me, okay? So I'm gonna introduce her in just a minute. I just want to bring up a few things right from the beginning, okay? As you're watching this mock interview, I want you to be paying attention, okay? We have not discussed, all I did is invite her and give her the job description of my resume, okay? I don't know what she's going to ask me. Here's what I know. I know she's a tough interviewer, okay? Which is the whole point of it. Because this is a learning environment, okay? The mock interview that you're going to have at week 7, it's intended to be a tough interview. Because if you can make it, this is the place to mess up. This is the place to get your constructive feedback. Not out there where you're not going to get that constructive feedback, right? Okay. So this interview is interviewing me for an HR position, a senior HR level position. There's nobody in here that's HR. So this is good news for you. Why? Because you can't copy me. Okay? I want you to know, I want you to keep in mind, when you go into the interview, you be you. Okay? Sometimes we get so caught up with all the rules, all the things that you can say or shouldn't do, and get kind of robotic. Okay? I want you to come into this just being you. Okay? And being comfortable and being confident. Now, do you think I'm pretty confident? Okay. Do you think I'm maybe a little bit good at what I do? And so, do you think I interview well? Do you think I've ever bombed it? Yeah. Okay, sometimes you learn the most from your failures, from when you mess up, okay? Am I going to interview perfect, even now? I'm not. There's always something you can work on. So as we get going with this mock interview tonight, I want you to be thinking about 3 things, okay? 1, what's your overall perception? Because a lot of times when you leave an interview, the person that interviewed you, remember, they interview a lot of people. So unless they took copious notes during the interview, which they might, still they're going to be left with an overall impression. Okay, there may be 1 or 2 things that they remember, but they're going to have an overall impression. They're really not going to remember everything that you said. Okay? So I want you to think, if you were the interviewer here, what would your overall impression be? As she's asking me questions, ask yourself, why is she asking those questions? What's her motive? What's her strategy? What's she looking for? Close. You got to turn that off, please. Thank you. And I want you to be thinking of what went well about the interview and what could have been done better. Okay? Sound good? And then at the end, we'll have some questions. We'll pull out the learning points and have some discussion. And maybe Ms. Cheddie will also allow us to ask her some questions if you guys want. Okay? So I will let Mary introduce herself and let you know where she's from while I get this together and pass this around of what I'm interviewing for.
Hey everybody, my name is Mary Cheddie and I'm the Senior Vice President of Human Resources for Interval International. I have been in human resources for 30 years and I got into it because of all the incompetent HR people who didn't ever get anything done for me because I was in operations and I needed them to do something, but they never did anything. And I thought, whatever it is they're supposed to do, I can do better. That's how I got into HR. Unlike today, many people can go to school to actually learn what they're supposed to do in HR and be prepared for it. The reality is when you go to an interview, the person who interviews you isn't going to remember anything about you. Most interviewers want to connect with you, and they've already made a decision in the first 5 seconds if they're going to go forward with you or not. Most candidates just want to get a job offer and then find out about the job. So as a person being interviewed, you guys want to learn as much as you can about the job and the company. People typically join a job or take the job because of the company. They leave because it's supervisor. So if you're interviewing with who the supervisor is, do you like the person? Can you connect with them? What's the job? Think about things. When we're in a tough market like this, any job is better than no job, right? No, not true.
No?
I can take you to the farm. I grew up in Iowa. You know what I used to do every Christmas Eve? Clean out the hog house. You know what I used to do every Friday evening? Clean out the hog house. I got paid $0.25 an hour. There are things. I mean, what if your job is, I was the head of HR for a company in San Antonio, Texas. We killed cows and bulls and cut them up and made hamburger patties for Wendy's, for Sonic, for Dairy Queen. How would you like to be on the kill line? Everybody has a range of jobs that they'll do well and a range of jobs that aren't meant for them. And it's important for you to understand what your range is. Would you kill animals for a livelihood? It's a very valid job. I mean, the guys on the kill floor at that company I worked for in San Antonio have been there for 30 years. I mean, unfortunately, one of them we lost one day because they decided to play El Corriodor with the stun gun. You can't use a stun gun on a human. It kills them. So it's important for you to know and understand what it is you'll do, what you're comfortable with. Your interview is the golden ticket inside the company gates to learn everything you can. Find out all you can about the person you're going to be interviewing with. Where have they worked? Where are their college degrees from? Go to ask.com and look them up. Go to Google and look them up. Go to Yahoo and look them up. If you have one search engine you use, that's not enough. Find out everything you can about the company. You know what one question, oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Torres, would you please step outside?
Sure. Okay, don't fool them, don't steal everything from the show. I'll be out here whenever you're ready to interview me, okay? Because that's what happens, you show up to an interview and you wait.
Yes, and you wait because everything that can go wrong usually does. I'm going to be asking her a very generic set of questions today. When I interview people, I interview very different than most other people. And the questions that I'm asking have nothing to do with the job, but the questions tell me what kind of an employee she'll be. It's called neurolinguistics interviewing. And so it's a whole different style, and I don't know if you've been exposed to it. I mean, you're not in your head, but many people haven't been exposed to it. I've been using this type of interviewing for about 15 years, and it is fail-safe. But I also believe I can connect with any candidate within 7 questions or less. And so I want to make that connection and connect. But I also want to learn as much about who is this person sitting in the chair? What are they going to really be like if we hire them? Are they going to be able to do the job? Are they going to be able to fit in with the company? People who fit the culture of the company are 80% likely to succeed. People who don't fit the culture are going to end up fired. So I'm going to ask her some tough questions. And if you want, if she gives me an answer that is kind of like, oh, well, whatever, you know, I can give you all a hand signal or something.